Joining us now, it's Friday, to discuss CNN political commentator Michael Smerconish, the host of Smerconish. Michael, always wonderful to have you on the program. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Casey. Great to see you again.
So let's talk a little bit about this, what's going on here with, we've been holding up the cover of today's New York Post, which we know Trump reads, we think probably every day. He certainly looks at it. It says, "This is a dictator," President Trump, with a picture of Putin. The Axios this morning is reporting that how Zelensky has handled the public back and forth with President Trump has made Trump so angry that he's thought about pulling all military aid to Ukraine. What are the realities here in your view? How significant is this as a shift in America's situation as what we've always called the president the leader of the free world?
I too thought that this repudiation by the New York Post was so significant that at Wawa this morning, I bought my own copy because I wanted to see exactly what kind of a spanking the Post was going to give Trump. Here's something else that occurs to me. One of the changes in Trump 2.0 is that populist Andrew Jackson, his portrait has been removed or replaced or swapped out in the Oval Office for Ronald Reagan, which is interesting to me because I cut my teeth as a Reagan Republican in the 1980s. I still revere Ronald Reagan. You don't hear Ronald Reagan's name invoked in this incarnation of the GOP the way that you had in the recent past. So I like that. That's a good thing. Ronald Reagan is rolling over in his grave at what Donald Trump is doing vis-a-vis Putin. How far we have come from Mr. Gorbachev, tear down that wall. I remember the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan in 1979. I remember the support that Reagan gave the so-called freedom fighters in Afghanistan in the 80s. This is so far removed from that. I don't understand it. It's a policy of appeasement. And to put it in lay terms, this administration has thrown Zelensky under the bus. I don't know that Ukraine would still be standing, but for Vladimir Zelensky.
I remember the early days of the war and the sort of assumption that he was going to simply be rolled by the Russians in the beginning there, and the way that he sort of stepped up as a leader was really remarkable. I mean, Michael, how do you explain the way that President Trump is approaching this? Is it just admiration for the level of control that Putin is able to exert over his society? Is it just admiration for that? I mean, what is it?
It's hard not to look at the dynamics and say that Putin is what Trump aspires to be in terms of the strongman image. Look, if in the end it had to be that Russia is going to maintain some of the spoils of war, I can get it. But what I don't get is the spanking that Zelensky is getting, the degrading way in which he's being referred to as a dictator by President Trump, or blamed for they never should have started it. You just played the clip again. I don't know. I'm flabbergasted. I just don't understand. It's as if there's an effort to humiliate him, and it's just unnecessary.
Briefly, Michael, I also want to get your take on, let's just take a brief look at what Elon Musk did yesterday at CPAC.
This is the chainsaw for bureaucracy. Chainsaw!
He said he was living the meme. Obviously, there's some support from Americans for, adding efficiencies to government. Do you think the chainsaw is the wrong instrument to be going after the federal government with?
I have the same comment and reaction that I do relative to Russia and Ukraine, which is, okay, maybe this is where it needs to end, but the process, is the process really necessary? I don't think we've taken a serious look at the size of our debt since Simpson Bowles in the Obama years. I like the idea that there is, this type of a review taking place, but the methodology that they're using, I question, in the same way that I question the methodology that they're using to get to the end of the road with Ukraine and Russia.
All right, Michael Smerconish, it has been such a treat to have you every Friday here on CTM. This is actually going to be my last broadcast here. I'm really excited. I think you're going to be on, hopefully, the very first show that we're going to have at 4 p.m., so I'm really excited to see you there.
I wish you all good things. You deserve it. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll see you soon. And of course, don't forget, tune into Smerconish. It's tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. Eastern, right here on CNN.